You have to have the right astrology or fix your karma first or get an energy clearing first or whatever nonsense we've bought into. And it is nonsense because you don't even know what you don't know yet. And you think there will come a day where suddenly there will be no fear, there will be no confusion or overwhelm. You'll have crystal clarity and absolute fearlessness, total confidence, and then you'll go and you'll never stop. And that is 100% an illusion. There's something I think that's, we have to keep remembering, especially us in the spiritual self-help, personal development world, is we have retrofitted our vehicles to have really big rear view mirrors and really tiny windshields. And we have to flip that around again and have big windshields, tiny rear view mirrors, big sunroof, because we want to have most of our energy, most of our attention upward in terms of the vision. Who am I? What really is? What is seeking to emerge? And then we want to have it outwards towards what's unfolding, where we're going, towards movement, towards action. If you're just looking in the rearview mirror, you're not moving. You have to stop. You can't move forward if all you can see is what's behind you. And the sunroof in this analogy is what lets the light come down. The vision, the inspiration, that is transcendent, that is higher or beyond or above the current terrain. We experience what we focus on. We experience what we think about. Energy flows where attention goes. So we're not experiencing reality. We're experiencing the quality and place of our attention. This idea that has also become very popular of timing. The right time has to be the right time, the right condition. If only she or he would do this, or when the economy is this, or when I lose this weight or gain this muscle, or when I have more money in the bank, or my kids go to school, or my mother-in-law moves out, or whatever the thing is, we've piled on so many preconditions, we're not even aware of them. And life doesn't know anything about that. Life doesn't know anything about waiting in that regard. Even though I talk a lot about it's important to know where you're going. If you don't know where you're going, every road gets you lost. And a failure to plan is a plan to fail. And these are all true, but they're not the whole truth. And there's a balance of the masculine and the feminine, the order and the chaos that we have to dance through. This is why when you really study great spiritual teachings, depending on which chapter you start with or jump into, it'll sound like they're contradicting themselves. And so it's not a contradiction. Integration and maturity and self-mastery is about understanding the dance of the Tao, the dance of the Tao does everything by doing nothing. And also the Tao is like the water, always moving, never fighting or resisting. It just rolls around the stone. It just rolls through the thicket, but it's always moving. So it's that which does everything without moving, and it's that which is always moving and cuts through everything. Like the Colorado River carving the Grand Canyon, this massive monolith of divine sculpture. So we have to understand that while it is important to do the work as best we can to know thyself. What am I made of? What am I made for? What is in me that wants to come out? It's also important that we don't wait to have a perfect plan, that we don't wait until all of our ducks are in a row. We need to understand that a bad or incomplete plan is infinitely better than no action. Action beats perfection. Action even beats planning. And again, if you're in the dance where you are on a regular basis, continuing to tap in, what's in me that wants to come out? Who am I really? What do I really want? What's seeking to emerge? And then you take action. because there is a plan, there is a template in the seed. The evolutionary scientists talk about evolution from the standpoint of it's blind. And the reason why they say that is that evolution, when you trace it out, cause and effect, it does not appear that it has a plan, because it's making constant micro experiments. It's like marketing online. It's running the split test, A/B split test, over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And what it's doing is it doesn't need a plan on one level, because it's running so many experiments. Let's try it with these 3 cells combined. Let's try it with these molecules. Let's try, add this one, take that one away, add these 2, take those 2 away. And it's doing it constantly, all over, all the time, and from a historical perspective. And it's failing, mostly. It's running the experiment. It's failing in so many ways, running into blind alleys, all of that. But it's also finding the next best iteration for the unfoldment of life. Now, the one piece that I add to evolution that evolutionary scientists and biologists that are pure physicalists or materialists don't, is that what evolutes has to first be involuted. In other words, when you watch a seed break open and it's very messy and it looks very wild and crazy, if you look at it from a microscope, it's chaotic. If you did not know better, if you started science at that point, you might think the seed is like evolution. It's just trying all these things, and it's dealing with weather, and it's adapting and adjusting, and eventually it becomes a tree or a plant or a flower or whatever. But that's not what's happening. It is searching for and co-creating a condition for its emergence, but that's because there's already a pattern inside of it. And so I believe it is self-evident that evolution is the unfoldment of the grand seed, and it's constantly running experiments, not to make something happen, but to make more of what it already is welcome, to create the next best condition for the emergence of the grand pattern, of the seed pattern. And that's what every seed is doing all the time. But there is an intelligence there. When evolution is willing to try stuff, it creates a condition where that which is in it already finds a way out. And so for us, the natural evolution has taken us as far as it's going to take us. For us to grow into full self-mastery, into full self-expression, and to fulfill our deeper potential and purpose, we have to stop waiting to feel confident, to feel certain, to feel safe. We have to stop waiting for anyone or anything or any condition to be any way, and understand that we are the ones that create the condition by running the experiment. And yes, to the extent we can, plan your life, have a clear plan. Plan your life as if you're doing all the work, but live your life as if God is, which is to say, live your life as if there is a higher pattern or intelligence that is always seeking to emerge through you. But it can't emerge if you're not moving. The course correcting capacity of an airplane does it no good if it sits on the runway. It can't course correct it if it's not flying. And while it's flying, it's off course like 96 or 97% of the time. Same with a rocket ship. But the course correcting successive approximation aspect is constantly adjusting back to the flight plan, back to the directional accuracy. Like, where am I generally wanting to go? Course correct. And then it gets clearer and clearer along the way. You sit in your driveway in your car and you want the GPS to give you all the instructions and when to turn left and right and all that. It's not going to happen. You have to be moving for life to guide you. We sit there in meditation, in classes, in workshops, in journaling, and we're trying to get clarity. I'm just not clear yet. I'm just not sure yet. I'm just not, I can't quite feel it yet. And you think there will come a day where suddenly there will be no fear, there will be no confusion or overwhelm. You'll have crystal clarity and absolute fearlessness, total confidence, and then you'll go and you'll never stop. And that is 100% an illusion. Clarity, confidence comes by moving. You have to move because you don't even know what you don't know yet. And you don't even know what's around the corner that will give you more guidance and clarity unless you move. The greater clarity is literally buried under the layers of hesitation and waiting and the false beliefs that Mercury can't be in retrograde, or that you have to have the right astrology, or fix your karma first, or get an energy clearing first, or whatever nonsense we've bought into. And it is nonsense. The divine reality, truth doesn't know anything about any of that. It only knows I am, I am, I am, I have, I can, I am able. We've just buried that I amness under all of these conditions. I have to first feel good about it. I have to first earn it. I have to first prove it. I have to feel safe and confident and certain. I have to make sure it doesn't hurt anybody or scare anybody, or that they won't leave me, or that I won't get fired, or that I won't get judged. And that's layer and layer and layer upon just the yes. So we have to practice, right? Faith is spelled R-I-S-K, risk, right? And courage is, I'm afraid, but I know there's something I'm supposed to do. Increasing our courage is about shortening the gap between that feeling of, I want this, I know this is what I'm meant to do, should do, supposed to do. The amount of time you wait is correlated to how much courage or how little courage you have. Some of us, we've gotten the yes, we've gotten the call, and we've been waiting years. That means we have zero courage in that area. And some of us, we've gotten the call, and we eventually got to the point where it was like a year, and then it was 6 months, and then now we're doing things on a 3-month or 6-month interval. We're making some kind of change that's scary. Okay, our courage has gotten stronger, but we want to close that gap all the way. That's the warrior, the spiritual warrior. When I feel the call, I answer the call. It's like the soldier to the commander. The soldier doesn't question the order and the command, they just follow it. Because they don't know the bigger plan, and if they had to hold all the details and complexities and dangers, they would never follow through. And this is the same thing many times with a master teacher and a student. Don't try to figure it out, just do the practice. Just go to that city and you will meet the person you need to meet. As it says in the Bible, to go without purse or script, without food, and then you find that your needs get met along the way. And this is the kind of adventurousness we have to reclaim. I remember a story from Joel Goldsmith, who's a great mystic in the turn of the century that some of you know of. He talks about this one experience where he had very much dissolved the sense of self and personal desire. He was just listening every day. It's like listening for his marching orders. And one day he had been told to not start any new classes and just be still for a while, which would seem like not the opposite of what I'm saying, but it's not. For him and for some of you, where he was always doing new classes, and a lot of demand, for him to stop and to be still in the face of that was the most courageous action. Versus for some of you that have not been doing much or doing much of what you really want to or are meant to, you're waiting and stopping too much, you see. So it just depends on where you are. What is the most courageous thing? Sometimes it's don't just do something, sit there, as much as sometimes it is don't just sit there, do something. But he was sitting there and he was meditating, and the voice said, go to London. And this was back in the day when, he had to take a plane, but it wasn't as easy as today. And he was like, but why? There's nothing. I don't have any students in London. I don't understand. And the voice just said, go to London. I'm like, okay. It was expensive and, none of it made sense. But he followed it. He took action. He had real courage. He got on a plane, he went to London, got in a hotel room, and he just sat in his hotel room. And now he's like, okay, I'm here, God. Now what? Like, think about that now. You fly to another country. You have no idea, no plan. You're just following orders inside. And he's sitting in his room. There's this one woman that found out he was there and wanted to talk to him. Turns out she was a fan of his. And so he ended up meeting with her. And, okay, that's fine. Nothing left of it. And then eventually what happened is she ended up buying a bunch of his books. She ended up giving them to the publishers there in London. He ended up going and meeting with the publishers. They ended up going, oh my God, we've been looking for a book like this. They ended up eventually taking on like 7 of his titles. It ended up growing study groups all around the UK, and then eventually spread to other publishers in Europe. And his whole kind of like Europe and United Kingdom groups and publishing and books and just exploded. Now think about that for a minute, because there was no linear track to that, and there didn't have to be. That's what's really called a quantum leap. He worked. He had his plan, he followed his plan, but he was also listening to the commands within, and he was willing enough, courageous enough to say yes, even when there was no plan. And the result was he went from A to Z instead of A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So we have to start to practice to really master ourselves, and especially as we move into an era where the world of technology and all of its impacts are going to be accelerating. You're not going to be able to keep up. When you're waiting, remember, life is not. When you're waiting to feel safe, to feel sure, to be confident, to the right condition, just know a couple things. Life is not waiting for you. And neither is all of your potential competition. And neither are all of the clients and the people that need your support and your help or your love or whatever. They're not waiting for you. If you're looking for your loved one, your ultimate beloved, they're not waiting for you. Life is moving, and it's going to move a lot faster. We have to embrace the capacity to be a servant of the truth and the yes within us, and to increase our courage to collapse the time between, I need to do this, I need to have this conversation, I need to stop this, I need to start this, I need to go there, I want to go there. Between that and action. Oh, but who am I? I'm not good enough. Who am I? What are they going to think? Whatever the thing is, and I want to hear from you what your versions of this are. But the key idea I want to take away is a bad plan, a really shitty plan, is better than no action. Forget perfectionism, forget waiting. This is time to lose all that weight. That's my invitation to you. And that is the real meaning of courage, and that is the real meaning of faith. Faith is not blind faith. Faith is the evidence of that which you cannot see, or the substance of that which does not yet appear. But it is substantial. When you feel that stirring, you feel that yearning. I want this. I want to be this person. I want to write that book. I want to have this kind of marriage. I want to be this kind of parent. I want to be this kind of person. I want to make this difference. When you feel that, that is the substance of faith. That is the evidence of what has not yet appeared. That little quiet voice sometimes, and other times yearning and burning and longing and heartbreak. If you recalibrate your focus so that you're more interested in what that is saying than you are in what this is saying or what the world is showing, this feeling, this impulse, this yearning and burning and wanting and desiring and heartbreak and ache, that is reality more than that. And so this is why Jesus also said, take no thought for your life, don't judge by appearances, judge righteous judgment, which is the judgment of discerning what's within you. Seek first the kingdom of heaven within. Buddha taught the same thing. They all did. He said, having eyes you cannot see, having ears you cannot hear, because you're judging by appearances, by effects. And remember, what are all these appearances? They are projections of an old story, of a simulation. But this yearning and burning in you is not a projection. It's the substance of truth. Come back to that innocence of trusting the impulse of life within you. Don't wait for the right plan. Don't wait for the right condition. Just say yes. And yes, you might stumble, you might fall, you might skin your knee, you might bump your head, you might make a mistake or make a fool. But the innocence doesn't even know that. It doesn't see that. The child doesn't yet see that that's a problem. They fall, they cry, they get back up. They look foolish, but they don't feel foolish until they eat of the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, and they take on these ideas of right and wrong, should and shouldn't, and then they fall into history, his story, a story of right and wrong, should and shouldn't, and now they're lost, struggling to try to fix the story. And what I'm talking about is coming back to the innocence, coming back home to ourselves, to begin to live and grow again as children. They want to create, they just create. Make your best plan, but take action as a priority. Start posting things, start writing things, start doing things more. Or if you've been doing, and you've been getting the hit, I need to stop, I need to be still, I want to go within more, that's the action. That's where the inaction is the most potent action. So you know where you are.